Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show. And ladies and gentlemen, the world is in crisis mode. Today, we have so many stories for you. We're probably going to get to all of them, but we will get to a bunch because Anthony Kennedy has retired. Ron Paul, he's in the news today for being racist. A mother confronted Scott Pruitt at a Washington restaurant. We'll check on what Tim Geithner is doing. We gotta love that. Marco Rubio is at it again. He's tweeting about, oh my gosh, we need to talk about stability. It's a big problem. Oh my god, shut up. Like, while you continue to destroy our lives. But anyway, and then a black priest, a priest kicked out black people out of a funeral, and a Mexican leftist won the presidency. I mean, maybe we'll get to that, or maybe not. But also, another thing we want to get to is, if we have time, and I think we're going to put this story a little bit higher in our rundown here because I think it's pretty important that we have a year later. This is the headline here from Natasha Leonard of The Intercept, great reporter. A year later, the fascists of Charlottesville are back for more. This time outside the White House. So yeah, was Trump going to come down and throw a party for them? Who knows? It's possible. It's probable. You can never predict anything with our current president. Anyway, we continue. And we start with a story on Splinter.com by future guest on this podcast, Libby Watson. Yeah. So she very aptly, I must say. Yeah, so Libby pretty much decided to write a story called "This Is Fine," right? And no, it's not. That's the answer. Yeah, so a New York Times story on the Trump administration's sly campaign to push Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy towards retirement includes this curious little anecdote. And here is this anecdote, this little piece Libby Watson quoted from the New York Times to put in this article. And by the way, and this is, and I mean, I don't think it's really Libby. I mean, you gotta love her, but she's probably not doing too much here. But anyway, we got the whole fight with Justice Kennedy playing out as we speak. And that is a big situation, right? So we got this New York Times quote here, and it says, and I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it extensively here. So here we go. So they say, but they had a connection. Mr. Trump was quick to note in the moments after his first address to Congress in February 2017. So this has gone back quite a while. February 2017, so almost a year and a half ago. He made his way out of the chamber. As he made his way out of the chamber, Trump paused to chat with the justice. Say hello to your boy, Trump said. Special guy. Trump was apparently referring to Justice Kennedy's son, Justin. The younger Mr. Kennedy had spent more than a decade at Deutsche Bank, eventually rising to become the bank's global head of real estate capital markets, and worked closely with Mr. Trump when he was a real estate developer, according to two people with knowledge of his role. So it looks like we got a little bit of a conflict of interest here. I mean, honestly, there's nothing really Kennedy can do about it because it was his son. And he can't really control what his son does. But this certainly looks a little suspicious. Like, we have to be honest here. I don't know what the thought process is. Like, this does not seem to be, personally, to me, it doesn't seem to be okay. Because, like, no. So anyway, the younger Mr. Kennedy, he was at Deutsche Bank, and during Mr. Kennedy's tenure, Deutsche Bank became Trump's most important lender, dispensing well over $1 billion in loans to him for the renovation and construction of skyscrapers in New York and Chicago. At the time, other mainstream banks were wary of doing business with him because of his troubled business history. This does not look good at all. So it certainly looks like this was at least a very, very helpful starting point of the conversation, shall we say here, for Donald Trump at least. And I mean, this is something that should be this is something that should really have liberals here freaking out, because it's going to be very, very important who picks the next Supreme Court justice. I mean, for Trump, for America, for Roe v. Wade, for abortion rights, for every single solitary little court decision that comes up. For example, labor, we talk about we didn't talk about it, but if you saw the decision pretty much making the country a right-to-work country, the Janus decision has come into effect now from the Supreme Court, and obviously the conservative Supreme Court, Neil Gorsuch ruled in favor of the corporations there, so that's a little bit of a disturbing fact, to say the least. Also, this seems to be a little bit of a problem. It just does not feel fine. TPM Josh Marshall argues that it's really bad. Is it really as bad as it seems? So he says, quote, "When I first read the Times story, I wasn't sure whether the younger Kennedy, whose title was Managing Director and Global Head of Real Estate Capital Markets, would have been someone to actually make loans to someone like Trump, as opposed to overseeing more complex or synthetic efforts like mortgage-backed securities and such. But it turns out he definitely was. The FT, Financial Times, says Kennedy was one of Trump's most trusted associates over a 12-year spell at Deutsche." So they were like, apparently, according to this guy here, they were like two, like, hands in a glove. They fit like a hand in a glove. And that glove was obviously the younger Kennedy, because boy, was he sheltering. Boy, was he helping him out there. Quite a lot. Anyway, so let's see. I don't know the collusion, the conflict of interest laws at play here. I really don't. I'm going to be honest completely here with you. It just seems to be, to this point, like, this is not fine. This is not okay. This is something that should be really, really, really worked into, because this is a huge decision, huge news. And it came right after the win of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Everybody was happy. And then I was sitting there, I was eating lunch, I was eating go-to hamburger. And all of a sudden, we get this BS from Justice Kennedy, who Trump has had a close working relationship for his younger son with Deutsche Bank with years. So it looks like, yeah, he owes him something. I mean, Deutsche gave Trump a lot. And now that it looks like they're finishing off here with a major. I mean, like, this kind of the connection point in politics, especially in politics, it could do some big things. Yeah, it could definitely do some big things. I feel like there's a bigger web here that's just not. That's something that this just does not feel right. Something about this, and mark my words here. This is probably going to go investigated, but mark my words. This does not feel right. I do not like it. More than anything, though, and here Libby Watson makes a good point. More than anything, it's evidence of how life is for elites. You got friends, old co-workers, and sometimes your beautiful sons in high places, both across the government and the biggest businesses that interact and depend on government. Those connections can be leveraged for all manner of decisions that infect the entire country and, by extension, the world. And if you got a bleep load of money to spend on stuff, it seems really cool. And sign me up. Oh, wait. I'm not allowed. I can't. I am most likely a middle-class worker who is severely disadvantaged by the economy. Okay. Yeah. So this is there's a video. Check it out on Twitter. Scott M. Stedman said, he transcribed this video. So Trump says to Kennedy, "That's very nice coming from you, and say hello to your boy. He's a special guy. Your kids have been very nice to him," Kennedy says. "They love him, and they love him in New York. He's a great guy." Let's see. Let us see here. We're gonna want to look into that. I'm deciding. I'm gonna make this executive decision right now, even though I have absolutely no power over anything. This should be looked into a little bit more. Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna have to take a look at that. I'm gonna make that decision. I have literally no power over anything. Anyway, we will now move on, and we got Page 6 there in the news because they ran a BS hit piece. No surprise here on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the Democratic Socialist. For the past 5 days, it's been hard to find someone to say a negative word about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, the 28-year-old Democratic Socialist who toppled powerful House Democrat Joe Crowley last week in the New York congressional primary. Former Fox News carnival barkers turned internet and Newsmax carnival barkers, Glenn Beck and Bill O'Reilly, have both praised Ocasio-Cortez on Twitter, and even Democrats like the House Leader Nancy Pelosi and Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois, who've denied the party should adopt Cortez's brand of politics wholesale, have been careful not to criticize someone who's already becoming one of the party's rising stars. And take a look at this tweet here. I think what she did was she did the hard work. She pounded the pavement. This is Tammy Duckworth talking here. And she was out there talking to every one of her constituents. And I think that was the difference. Even Duckworth said to Jake Tapper on Sunday, even as she warned as Democrats going too far to the left. And that's not even broad criticism against Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But there's no way you can really smear her. It's just not... It's not the best. It's not the best. It's not the best. So apparently even dunks, some dunks have been attempted on here by this guy, John Cardillo, whatever, who gives a bleep. But I'm sorry here. You're just going to put up with this because I'm going to be like blurring back between when I get mad, I'm just going to drop a F-bomb or a SHIT bomb. But I do try to control myself because I don't know why. I really don't know why. But anyway, yeah. So even dunks have been attempted on her. It's really worked, as was exemplified by Sean Hannity's backfiring segment last week on her, where he put her platform up on a big board and said, "This is her platform," and it was like Medicare for all, and she was like, "Yeah, that's my platform. Got a problem, motherfucker?" Yeah, see, it just slips out like that. Sometimes I'm sorry, it just slips out like that. But anyway. Yeah, so when O'Reilly's fellow Newsmax host, John Cardillo, stepped up to suggest on Sunday that Ocasio-Cortez was some kind of elitist, she promptly owned his ass online. John Cardillo says, "This is the Yorktown Heights, very nice area, home Ocasio 2018 grew up in before going off to Ivy League Brown University. A far cry from the Bronx hood upbringing she's selling." So yeah, people just liked her because she was a hobo. Yeah, that's what she said. She sold them on the hobo con. Everyone loves that. You look like, how does he's like? Just get a picture of John Cardillo. See how disgusting he looks like. So yeah, she went and Google Maps his house. He went and Google Maps his house and was like, and this guy, by the way, former NYPD. Just saying. I mean, I wonder, like, he's the kind of guy who, like, he sees black people across the street, locks his door, that kind of thing. He's that kind of guy. He lives in a nice neighborhood, and he could have possibly lived in New York. Yeah, he's got that Newsmax money. I'm sorry. He's wealthy AF. He's got that Newsmax check. Damn. All right. Anyways, yeah. So she even went to go Google his house. So yeah, Newsmax TV. That's some BS. Anyway, and he kind of got roasted for that, and it's just literally it was probably like her grandmother's house. So yeah. So here's the response here from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. "Hey John, I didn't go to Brown or the Ivy League. I went to BU. Try Google." Yeah, so his sources kind of effed him up there, and he, being the incredible journalist he is, he just like, screw Google. I don't need Google. I got my sources. Like, it's not that hard. Just look it up. Yeah, and two, this is her second point of response. "It's nice growing up. It was a good town for working people. My mom scrubbed toilets so I could live here, and I grew up seeing how the zip code one is born in determines much of their opportunities." So it was pretty much a working class town she grew up in. So this is some bullshit. But not to fear. Page Six's Richard Johnson took some time off from gloating that he's a friend of Donald Trump to do some real gumshoe journalism work of finding an old co-worker at the Union Square who's willing to talk bleep on her. Yeah, see, and we go back and forth here. And although he notes that most of the workers he talked at Union Square who talked at the Union Square bar she worked at for 4 years, saying nice things about her, Johnson did find an anonymous waitress who had a extremely specific complaint about her. Yeah, one waitress said has a very bad memory of working with Ocasio